Hey everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking at how AI could totally transform the world of management consulting. And get this, it might happen a lot sooner than you think. We're diving into a really interesting LinkedIn article by Flemming Vidriksen. It's called "The Great Consulting Reset Will Hit Like a Tornado and Replace Traditional Management Consultants by 2026." So let's unpack this thing.
Yeah, this article really gets straight to the point. It jumps right into what Vidriksen calls the brutal truth. He's basically arguing that consulting is about to get massively disrupted, all thanks to AI, artificial intelligence.
Okay, so just the title alone made me stop and think. Is Vidriksen really saying that consultants could be out of a job by 2026?
Well, he's definitely saying that some traditional consulting roles are at risk, especially the ones that focus on tasks that AI can easily automate. He even compares it to what happened to Kodak. You know how they missed out on digital photography and really paid the price? He's saying consulting firms need to adapt quickly or they could face the same fate.
So what does adapting even look like in this situation? Does every consultant need to become like an AI programmer or something?
Not necessarily. Vidriksen's point is that consultants need to understand how AI is going to change the game for their clients. He talks about this idea of the great consulting divide. Basically, firms will split into winners and losers. The winners will be the ones who can use AI to deliver new kinds of value to clients. And the losers, well, they'll be the ones stuck doing things the old way.
And he uses some real-world examples of companies that have already made this jump right.
Exactly. He talks about GoDaddy Abercrombie and Fitch and Sweetgreen. These are all companies that implemented AI strategies and saw huge benefits, like increased efficiency, better margins, and even stock growth. It's a real wake-up call for the consulting industry.
He's basically saying, hey, this isn't some futuristic fantasy. This is happening now. So if companies like these are already seeing success with AI, what's stopping consultants from doing the same?
That's where things get really interesting. Vidriksen points out this potential talent question. It's like a generational divide within consulting. You've got these experienced consultants who might be hesitant to embrace AI. And then you have new grads who grew up with technology but lack real-world experience. Bridging that gap is going to be really important.
It sounds like there's a big opportunity for collaboration there. Senior consultants can share their industry knowledge, and new grads can bring fresh ideas about AI. I think that could be a really powerful combination.
Absolutely. And Vidriksen even suggests that the consulting industry of the future might be much smaller, with fewer employees overall. But here's the twist. The consultants who remain would be super specialized. They would focus on delivering high-value strategic advice. So it's less about doing the work themselves and more about guiding clients through this complex AI-driven world.
Okay, so fewer consultants, but potentially a much bigger impact. And speaking of impact, Vidriksen doesn't shy away from the fact that this shift could mean some people lose their jobs.
Yeah, that's true. He acknowledges that concern, but he also stresses the need for people to learn new skills and adapt. He's not saying AI is the enemy. He's saying it's a chance for consultants to reinvent themselves and develop new skills that will be in high demand.
So it's not about being afraid of AI. It's about figuring out how to work with it, how to use its power to get even better results for clients.
Exactly. Vidriksen actually gives us a roadmap, a set of actions that consultants can take to not just survive, but thrive in this AI-driven future.
I'm really curious to hear more about this roadmap. Let's dive into those actions.
So we were about to get into those 5 actions Vidriksen talks about, the ones that consultants can take to thrive in this AI world.
Right. Yeah, let's hear those. I'm sure our listeners are curious too. How can they actually put these ideas into practice?
Well, the first one is about developing new value propositions. Going beyond the traditional kind of support that consultants usually offer. He's really pushing consultants to think differently about what they bring to the table. It's not just about making things a little bit better anymore. It's about helping clients create totally new opportunities, like even new business models, or helping them disrupt their own industries before someone else does.
So instead of just solving problems, consultants need to become more like partners. Using AI to create possibilities that weren't even there before, that's a big shift in how they need to think.
It really is. And that leads right into the second action, which is tracking towards where customers are going to be in the future. Vidriksen says it's super important to understand how AI is changing and how it's going to affect different industries down the line. Consultants need to become experts in these trends and then help their clients get ready for those changes.
Almost like being a futurist, right? Helping clients see what's coming and make smart decisions for the long term.
Exactly. And then the third action is about building trusted advisor relationships. It means going beyond those one-off transactions and building real partnerships with clients that last. That's where those human skills we talked about really come in.
You mean things like empathy and being able to communicate well? Those are things that AI can't really do, at least not yet.
Exactly. Trust and human connection are going to be even more important in this AI world. So consultants who can build those strong relationships will have a big advantage.
So far, we've got developing new value propositions, tracking future trends, and building trust. What else is on Vidrikson's roadmap?
The fourth action is all about those unique human skills. Things like creativity, critical thinking, solving really tough problems, emotional intelligence. He says it's really important to develop these skills and figure out how to use them together with AI.
It's interesting because we're talking about AI automating a lot of work, but at the same time, Vidrikson is saying human skills will be even more important.
That's right. It's not about replacing humans with machines. It's about finding the right balance. The right way to combine human ingenuity with what AI can do.
And that brings us to the fifth and final action, which is to focus on leveraging AI, not competing with it.
Absolutely. It's about seeing AI as a tool, a partner, something that can help us do our jobs better and give more value to clients.
Consultants need to learn how to work with AI, to understand what it's good at and what it's not good at, and then figure out how to make it part of what they do.
Exactly. It sounds like a lot to process, but it's also a pretty exciting time to be a consultant.
It definitely is. There are big changes coming, but also a ton of opportunity, especially for consultants who are willing to adapt and learn how to use AI.
Yeah, Vidrikson seems really optimistic about the future of consulting, but he's also realistic about the challenges ahead.
So what does all of this mean for our listener? They might be thinking, okay, this is all interesting, but how does it apply to me?
That's a great question, and I think Vidrikson's article has some really good advice, no matter where you are in your consulting career.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. So before the break, we were going over those 5 actions, the ones Fleming Vidrikson outlines for consultants to really make it in this new AI world. Yeah. I think it'd be good to unpack these a bit more, to see what they really mean for our listener.
Yeah, I agree. It's one thing to talk about these ideas, on a high level, but it's more important to figure out how consultants can actually use them.
So let's start with that first action, the one about developing new value propositions going beyond the usual support. What does that actually look like in practice?
Okay, so imagine you're a consultant. You're working with, let's say, a retail company. Instead of just helping them with things like their supply chain or making their marketing better, you start thinking bigger. How can they use AI to really personalize the customer experience? How can they use AI to come up with new product recommendations? Maybe even predict future trends?
So it's about using AI to go beyond just small improvements, right? To push the limits of what's possible.
Exactly. It's about becoming a strategic partner, someone who helps clients create completely new business models, new ways to make money.
And that connects to the second action, right? The one about keeping track of where customers are headed in the future. How can consultants stay ahead of the game and figure out what those future needs will be?
Well, it's about becoming a kind of student of AI, understanding how it's changing and then turning that knowledge into insights that matter to your clients' industries. For example, let's say you work with a healthcare company. You need to understand how AI is being used for things like drug discovery or diagnostics or personalized medicine.
So it's not just about knowing how the tech works. It's about understanding what it means for different industries and how companies can use it to get a leg up on the competition.
Exactly. And then that third action, building those trusted advisor relationships. It's about establishing a really deep level of trust with clients, making sure they understand you and you understand them. That's where things like really listening to your client, showing empathy, and being able to communicate clearly are so important.
So you're more than just a consultant, right? You're like a confidant, someone your clients can really rely on for good advice.
Exactly. And that trust becomes even more important when you're talking about AI, because it can be a complicated and sometimes kind of scary topic for clients.
Okay, so we've covered the first 3 actions. Let's move on to the fourth one, creating those unique human skills that AI can't copy. We've touched on this a bit, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. Which skills do you think will be most important in this AI future?
Well, I think creativity will be huge. And also critical thinking. Being able to solve those really tough problems. The ones that need human intuition and judgment. Emotional intelligence is going to be crucial too. Consultants need to understand people's needs and concerns, especially in this world where AI is playing a bigger and bigger role.
So it's about finding that balance, where human intelligence and artificial intelligence work together, right? Where they actually make each other better.
Exactly. Which takes us to that fifth and final action, focusing on using AI, not trying to beat it.
Right. It's all about seeing AI as a tool, something that can help us do better work, to give more value to our clients.
Absolutely. The consultants who figure out how to work with AI, those are the ones who will really thrive in this new environment.
So to sum up our deep dive into Fleming Videriksen's article, it seems like the consulting industry is about to go through some big changes. But it's not all doom and gloom.
Definitely not. It's a chance for consultants to evolve, to think and work in new ways, and to ultimately deliver even more value to their clients. Those 5 actions that Videriksen gives us, they're like a roadmap for how to navigate these changes and come out on top.
And as we finish up this episode, we want to leave you with one last thought. If AI can really automate so much of the work consultants do now, what completely new opportunities might open up? What new kinds of consulting services will be needed in this AI-powered world? We encourage you to keep thinking about these questions and to embrace the possibilities that are out there. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.